All right, welcome back to the TARDIS model planning video blog. This is our second video, and as you can see, I've still got the two models out here. Today we're going to talk not much about assembly, but about parts. And the parts are important because there's a big difference between the Model 1 version, which is this one, and the Model 2 version, of course, which is the bigger, fatter one. But one of the similarities is that the top comes off. Okay, the lid comes off of the Model 1 version, and as you look on the inside, you can see that it has supports that allow you to put the top on, and it'll stay in place. It'll stay like that, and it looks like a TARDIS. In fact, it looks kind of like a pretty stable TARDIS, which is a good thing. Now, when we go to the Model 2, the version 2 model, when we look at it, the top does come off, okay, but there's a significant amount of apparatus in there, okay? There's some lighting fixtures, and there's some wires that come down for the top light. And if you look inside, there is a rim there that the lid sits down on, but there's a lot of wires in there, and we'll talk about what all those wires connect to in a future video. But today it's important to know that the top has to be able to come off and go back on. And notice that it is a pretty snug fit. As we say in the instructions in the blog, it's important when you start assembly that you don't just go by the measured drawings, but you look at your materials and you look at some of the gaps that you're forming, and you make sure that this lid fits on nice and tight. Now, one of the other features of the Type 2 model is this. If you look at the bottom, we've got two things here, and we're going to build the bottom a little bit differently when we build in the future. But we need a switch that comes through the bottom, and we also need to be able to bore a circular hole that allows the speaker, because when you turn it on, of course everybody saw and heard what this does the last time, right? The lights work, okay, but the sound is coming out of the bottom. And you need a place for the speaker. You need a place for the speaker so that the sound will actually come out and reflect off the bottom. It gives a pretty broad sound when you hook the speaker up the right way. So now what are we going to do when we talk about parts? Let's talk about parts. The first part that I think is the most important is a speaker. And you know, don't go spending $1 million on a speaker. You can probably go to some second-hand store, or you can go to I don't know, there's a lot of places you can go to find a speaker, and this is just a little 3-inch speaker. This is actually one of 4 speakers that came out of a boombox that I found at Goodwill here in the United States. But you can find any number of small speakers like this, and I really like this because it came with a lot of flexible wire. I mean, I'm a scavenger when it comes to stuff like this. So finding a scavenged speaker, you know, at the end of the day, this speaker cost me 25 cents. You can do that if you shop and you look with a pretty sharp eye. And also, you know, you might have an old computer laying around. You might have any number of electronic parts where you can scavenge some of this stuff. So there's a speaker. That's an important thing, as you saw, that'll go in the bottom of the box. You know, another thing that you're going to need is a way to light up those police box marquees. Now, I have a couple of solutions, but I think the one that's easiest, the one that'll work with a lot of folks who are beginning project makers here, is this. Now, this is a holiday lighting kit that I found at Walmart here in the States. It's an 18-wire kit, okay? It goes for about $4, and it comes with its own battery pack with multiple settings, but it comes with 18 lights, and I've got a second one here that I'll light up for you. I hope under the brighter lights today that you'll be able to see it. Here it's the battery pack. It takes 3 AA batteries, and as we look at it, when you turn it on, you can see that all the lights will light up. Okay, now what that will do for you is that for about 4.5 volts, you can light up the whole marquee. And our key, and really one of the big keys of building this model is how do we get the most bang for our volts? Okay, we want as much to go into this thing without getting too trapped into a lot of voltage, because you don't want to put a 12-volt battery, or worse, a 12-volt power supply in your TARDIS. You want to put something small. My TARDIS runs on a 9-volt battery, which is rather small, but it's good voltage, okay? So that's one choice. Now, I did get that at Walmart, just to play fair with everybody. Walmart's not your only choice. I found this one at another discounter, not quite a dollar store, but a closeout store. And you can see that the lights are twinkling there. You can actually turn it so that they'll stay on. The problem with these lights, I looked at these and I thought maybe these, but they're sort of warm glow, but they're not as bright as the other lights. So I'm not sure that these are going to work. We'll see as we put together the second model whether or not these work out okay. The last thing that I thought was really important, really critical, was how do you get LEDs? You know, we need an LED for the top of the TARDIS. We need an LED for the interior, and for a couple of bucks you can probably buy 2 halfway decent LEDs at an electronics store, you know, something online maybe. You can't really buy one LED online. You'd have to go to a Radio Shack or someplace like that. But one thing I found was this at Walmart. Now the great thing about this line of LED lights is that at the end of the day, these are about 10 cents a piece. Okay, so it cost me there's 70 lights on here, so it was about $7 for the whole string. But this LED right here is really interesting because these LEDs are really bright. And this was really an excellent choice for us when it came to putting together my first 2.0 model version there, because these LEDs are exceptionally bright and they come right out of the wire. Okay, and we can bend the wires back, the little wires that hold it in place, and pull it out of its fixture, and what you get is this little square LED. I don't know if you can see that in the picture here, but that LED is really exceptionally bright, and it works really well inside the TARDIS. That's the flashing light inside the TARDIS, and it's also the flashing light at the top of the TARDIS. So those are the parts that I used. Those are the things that I used to put together the 2.0 version of the model. And we're going to talk about how to assemble some of the electronics and so on, and also how to put this whole thing together, because it is rather difficult when you've got the 2.0 model. How do you stuff all that stuff back inside? I mean, what we've got is a box, and unfortunately my big ham-handed hand doesn't fit inside that box as well as I would like. So what are you going to do when you get this thing assembled and you want to stuff all those wires in there? Well, we're going to talk about that as we go on in the video blog, but I don't want to make these blogs 30 minutes at a time, so we're going to make just one video this week and another next week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.